Hello, everyone, and welcome to Sold with Updike Pugh.
I'm Jeff Updike.
I'm Weston Pugh, and today on episode 334, we're coming at you from a brand new studio. It's a great place, Jeff.
It really is.
Excited about it. We kind of get a little bit new format. So sit back, relax, and we're going to kick off by telling you what we're going to talk about. This week, we're going to hit 75208 and really dive into some of the numbers and give you a really good understanding of what's happening. But we're also going to reflect and talk about what are three things that people love in this zip code, because it's pretty diverse and there's a lot of very unique non-big box items that you're going to fall in love with.
And the house we're going to talk about today is at 2010 Mayflower. This is in Stevens Park Estates in Oak Cliff. It's a 1935 Spanish Colonial that has been fully renovated. And in Homeownership 101, we're going to talk about what goes on behind the closing table.
A lot. That is a good subject. You did a great job picking that one.
So let's start with the zip code itself. 75208 is full of diversity in home styles. This neighborhood, a zip code covers neighborhoods from Kessler Park, Bishop Arts, Stevens Park Estates, Kidd Springs, which is a historic district. Some of this architecture is some of these are the most architecturally distinct neighborhoods, and there's no two blocks that look the same in this. There are craftsmen next door to Spanish Colonials. It is such a diverse neighborhood.
So the average sales price was a little surprising because the average sales price in April came in right at $635,000. Year over year, that is down from $780 in April of 2025. On paper, that looks like the market is softening, but here, let's put it into context. That zip code has a lot of swing, and in January, we can say that because in January, the average sales price was $521, and last May it was $762. So what we're seeing is that there can be some really high-end sales that can happen in this small area that can really sway things left and right. So the number to take away is not the direction. It's that buyers are comfortable paying in the 600s for houses year over year, and that's what we like to see is this consistency.
And new listings, so the spring surge has really kind of backed off in the neighborhood. In April, there were in March, there were 71 new listings that came on the market down there. In April, there were only 45.
Yeah.
And so that's a significant pullback, but there's still plenty of inventory there. So I think buyers that thought they were going to see that inventory continue to grow are not seeing that happen. And sellers are, you'll see in just a minute, sellers are really able to hold their price point in that neighborhood.
That's true, because when we talk about the closed sales, the demand is holding. So we had 26 homes that sold in April, and that's up from 24 in the April of 2025. And there's the number that matters. 45 came on and 26 sold. That's a pretty great absorption rate. That's better than 57%, which is a nice, strong number for a single month. The market is not sitting, but what it is doing is it's rewarding those people who are actually pricing their homes with integrity and knowing what the data is.
And this next stat shows that, because those sellers are currently getting 96.9% of their list price. And that is the highest percentage in the last 16 months down there.
That's a big number.
Yeah. So, I mean, exactly to your point, the sellers that are pricing their homes right are getting their dollar.
Yeah. And I think, and that's something that we can say about most places, but in this zip code, it's really prevalent. So the summary that we're going to hit with is that 75208 right now is a market with limited turnover, a spring inventory that has already seen a little bit of a recession on that, but it has really strong absorption rate at that. Buyers paying nearly full listing price. And if you're a seller in this zip, the conditions are working in your favor, but only if you apply market priced principles. Now, if you're a buyer, this is a great time for make a move in this area.
So now that we've talked to you about the numbers and kind of shown you what a great neighborhood this is from that perspective, let's talk a little bit about what locals love in there.
So this is a really interesting neighborhood. So it does have a lot of topography and a really great walkability. So if you're someone who likes to get out, Combs Creek Trail is literally 1 block away. You can jump on this, and this is what is called a linear trail system. So this will give you about 4 miles to be able to walk. It's wonderful as far as the mature trees. And again, as I said, the topography. And this is a really nice asset that a lot of homeowners in Dallas do not have access to. So,
and calling that an asset is a really good way to describe it, because That's really what all of these are around it. They're just assets to that neighborhood. One of the other ones is the Stevens Park Golf Course, which I'm not a golfer. I have friends that are golfers, but I am told that this is probably one of the finest municipal golf courses in the entire Metroplex. The proximity, you can walk to this from this house on Mayflower. We were just talking to our producer, and he is a golfer, and he said that the 15th fairway on this has such a beautiful view of downtown. It's spectacular.
Actually, the article that we put in the link, you're going to see that they actually reference this. Now, if you're not a golfer like myself and Jeff, there's a great place because I am an eater, and it's called Lucia. Now, Lucia just received was a finalist in the James Beard 2026 award. They actually have a limited number of seats. There are 14 in this small restaurant, and it is available at the beginning of the month. So you must plan ahead to make a reservation, but it is definitely worth the go-see on this one.
And one of the other places for eaters to go is called Killmax. That is a new restaurant that has just opened up. It's really described more of a Oak Cliff garage turned outdoor hangout. So it's an Airstream bar, wood-fired pizzas, boozy backyard. It's a really, really great casual place to go hang out.
And did you know that the people that brought this to the Oak Cliff are also the owners of the Monk?
Oh, really?
The Old Monk. So if you're familiar with the Old Monk, this is going to be a go-to because I've heard it has a lot of similarities. I love the Old Monk because I am an eater, and this has some really great food and some of the best beers on tap.
From a location perspective, talk about some of those.
So this is a really great, we always talk to our clients and say, depending on where you need to be in the Metroplex, this is one of the ones that actually hits a lot of the points. So when we talk about its proximity to Uptown and Katy and like the Katy Trail, let's take for instance, I think that's so important because that's one of the big things that draws people into that area. And this is a great proximity. I think we're like 12 minutes from here. It's a straight shot up Colorado. Now that we have the Calatrava Bridge, we've got a lot more access into downtown as well. The other thing too that gives you access to downtown is that there is a trolley system now. So you can get to the arts district, you can go to the museums, never have to take your car. So these are, I think, elements and assets that we talk about because if you're moving here from another area, you're used to some public transit, you're used to being close to the cultural elements, and this neighborhood does provide on that.
And if you're a traveler, whether it be regional or worldwide, you have access to two of the greatest airports in the country. Love Field, which was the original airport in the Dallas area. If you are a regional flyer, actually they do international now too, but if you just want a day trip to Austin, this is a great airport to jump into and be able to take your trip and get right back. If you're an international traveler, DFW Airport is about 30 minutes away. And this is the second busiest airport in the country. As somebody taking somebody out, dropping them off, and I've got lots of experience doing that, it's really pretty easy to get in and out of.
Absolutely. So with all that information that you have about both the Market Watch and what locals love and what's close by, let's go ahead and jump in. Let's talk about 2010 Mayflower Drive. This is a really great house because so many times people are in that situation where they don't want the ranch and they don't want modern. And I have to say that this Santa Barbara Mission style home is extremely popular right now. It does, I would say, rival not quite with the mid-century modern, but definitely a 70s modern. Mm-hmm. These houses really have a go-to, and people remember the house. They're like, oh, you're that Santa Barbara house on the street.
And this neighborhood's full of these. This is a 4-bedroom, 4 full bath, 2 fireplace home. It was about 2,600 square feet. And it is completely redone inside. So when we start looking through this, there are elements in this house, and we'll link these, but it's not just pretty. I love the fact that they've done so much to the actual systems within the house, whether it's the roof, the electrical. It makes for a full house. As you can see when we go into the house, the living room is a really great. I love the fact that these are arched windows throughout. Light,
arched passway.
Great natural light.
It's really great. A lot of times when we see pictures that look this good, to me, I'm always like braced because I don't think it's going to look as good in real time, but it does. This is a really great way. And this is the formal. And then when we transition, we can look at what it looks like to go into that family room as well.
So that was a downstairs bath, and that was that is such a well done downstairs bath. There is an office off of the living room that could be that fourth bedroom. They're using it as an office now, but having this full bath on the first floor, I think really makes a difference, especially if you've got guests that can't navigate stairs. It's just it's a lifesaver.
And I think it's smart in the way that they did their design selects. So their design selects for me are spot on because I feel like so many times people get it wrong. But from the light fixtures to the decor that they used on the doors, the tile selects, it all works. And it all has like a same note. So it's not like someone just kind of like piecemealed this together. So when you were talking about how well that full bath downstairs looked, I think that it incorporates really well with how this kitchen works. Mm-hmm. So to me, if you're going to do cabinets and they're going to be painted, not painting them white is the smartest thing you can do right now. The way that they use the countertops also in accordance with that backsplash, I think they know the demographic and they know what they want and they're delivering right here.
And this is the formal dining area right off of the kitchen, which is just perfectly situated. It's a great size. Behind that farm door is the utility room. Yeah. And it's very well hidden. It's a perfect place for it. This is the view from the other end of the table that looks out through the double French doors. There's a small area out there, a small porch right off of that, but it opens up to this really expansive yard.
Okay, so it opens to the yard, but I want to talk about this downstairs living room because this is what surprised me. Mm-hmm. Because this is not expected. This is done in the renovation. And the way that it opens up, I think you did the measurements and we were 21, 22 feet.
22 feet.
Which is really great because it gives you this vertical volume that you're not expecting in this home. And so it's like they've taken the Santa Barbara look, and then they've said, you know what, you need to look a little taller, so we're going to give you this height. It's amazing, and it's also surrounded by the staircase upstairs. So there's a way for you to actually feel the volume, not just from the downstairs, but also from the upstairs.
And this is this family room, the upper landing looks out over the family room. Oh, there we go. That looks out over the family room, and they've got this row of windows that you didn't really get to see in the other pictures that bring such great natural light in. I mean, there's not a dark spot in this house.
No, and if you're a fiddle leaf tree fan, mm-hmm. as we see right there, you can grow a really big one right here. So as we transition, we're also going to talk about the bedrooms. I thought it was really smart that the way they vaulted the ceiling here. This gave it also additional vertical height. I was not expecting to see another fireplace. I thought that was a really interesting extra in here. I like that it is an oversized room with lots and lots of windows as well. It just gives you a treehouse effect, and I think that we can say that with confidence because this is a mature neighborhood with mature trees.
And the primary bath is just spectacular here. You can see all of the ornate work that was done, solid surface countertops. You've got that big walk-in shower, which I absolutely love. It has the separate artisanal tub. What do they call it? Artistry tub. But double vanities, really nice size closet right behind that. And this is all done with the white gold tones that I think, you talked about the continuity of the house earlier. It really just continues to tie it all together.
I agree because even like, as I was talking, light fixtures, faucets, it all is on the same note. And this just goes to prove that they know what they're talking about. This is from the back of the house. And one of the interesting things about this lot is that when we turn around and look at it from the other direction, you're going to see that this is, I believe, a 80 by 148 deep lot. Mm-hmm. So the thing that's important to me about this is that, yes, you could put a pool in. I think that in this area would be great. That is something that would really be one of those extras in here. Because of the topography and the way that this house travels down, when you and I walked out the stairs, you and I both thought immediately, this would be a great house to put like a 15-foot deck that was the width of the house. And you know how we had that one house that had the stairs that went all the way down for the width? That would be something that would be really extra on this house. So you could put your own fingerprint on it, but it's in the fun way. You're not spending money in the unfun way on this house if you did that.
So this house is 2010 Mayflower Drive. It is a 4-bedroom, 4.5 bath. It is about 2,600 square feet, and it is priced at $1,195,000.
We want to say thank you so much to Megan Bond for allowing us to feature this home. One of the things that we like to do is in the comments, there's going to be a link to this. Click on that and you can see other pictures that we didn't use. If there's a neighborhood that you're interested in, this is a very easy search for us to do. Let us know. We'd be happy to pull other homes up as well. And Jeff, what's our transition?
Now that we've found the home, it's time to write the contract. But let's talk about what happens after they accept your offer.
Okay, so this is a really interesting point because to me, I feel like from the perspective of a buyer or seller, sometimes they think that this is when we go quiet, but it's really not, because what happens in this closing process begins with the first 21 to 30 days is when the house will close. That's a pretty quick close. 21 days pretty much is indicating you've got a cash buyer, you've got someone that's so fully funded that the bank is probably a profile or portfolio lender, and it's going to happen really quick. During this time frame, there are also anywhere from 6 to 8 people that actually have their hands on this. So we're talking about the other agent. We've got lenders, we've got the title company, you've got an appraiser, you could have inspectors, and we can go down further if during the inspection process we realize we need to have HVAC, plumbing, electrician come out. Also, this is probably when the survey is going to be ordered really quickly after. In addition, it only takes one of these individuals to cause a delay, and sometimes even for the deal to be upended. This is when Jeff and I turn into air traffic controllers as much as realtors. It is a time when the coordination, and the deal is I think that while it looks like we're not doing anything, it's because we're trying to alleviate, as you said when I first started, our job is to make this look easy and decrease the stress on the buyers and the sellers.
And let's talk about the 3 things that will kill a deal faster than anything else. Number one, lender problems. Buyer didn't get qualified or didn't get qualified with the correct information. The buyer has changed jobs. The buyer has gotten a new credit card after they've done loan application, all of those things. And that is going to create problems with the lender. Number 2, title and HOA surprises. If the seller is unaware of liens that might be on the property or any of those background issues, those can be a deal killer as much as the HOA docs, because during this time that you are under contract, if the home is in a homeowners association, you're going to be given an opportunity to review the financials. And that's become so much more incredibly important that it is, if the financials don't look right, it's worth killing the deal over. And then number 3 is the appraisal gaps. The market's kind of been up and down so much that there are going to be times where that home is just perfect for that buyer, and that buyer is going to be paying top dollar for that home. But for some reason, the appraiser just doesn't seem to see the same value in it that buyer does. And so sometimes you deal with an appraisal gap. And when there is an appraisal gap, which we did a whole show on just a couple of weeks ago, then that could be your deal killer as well.
These are all really important things to be mindful of, and that's really what we try to focus on. Now, what does it look like when an actual closing happens perfectly? So in week 1 is when the option and earnest money is delivered. One of the great things now is there's apps that are out there that allow this to be delivered so much more efficiently. And also you're going to have your inspections scheduled. That's usually the week 1. In week 2, what we're going to have is the inspection is going to be completed and repairs will be negotiated. These are the things that actually allow for everything else to take place. So now that we've got repairs negotiated, the lender will now order the appraisal. So these are items that need to be sequential, and that's what's really happening in week 2. Now, week 3, week 2, this is when everything starts to arrive. So we get the appraisal, the title comes in, and HOA docs. And these all usually have timetables that we've negotiated inside the contract that allow you that amount of time to review, approve, and or stop the contract. So this is really your time to be re-engaged in this. And lastly, what happens in the final week is that we get clear to close. And this is when everyone has put their numbers together. They've been sent back for authorization or approval by the lender. And now they're ready for you to sign at the title company. That's a perfect world, though.
Yeah. And what can you do to protect your deal? So For sellers, number one, again, have a HOA financials and governing documents organized, have all of that ready to be able to turn over to a buyer right away. The way a lot of contracts come in, the buyer is giving the seller 10 days to get them those documents. They get to look at those documents for up to 6 days and terminate. So if you don't have those documents up front, you're extending the opportunity for that contract to fall apart. That could be your longest contingency in the contract sometimes. Number two, know your payoff amount, know what liens are against the property. Number three, after it is under contract, do not make changes to that property. Do not make changes to that property. And number three, stay accessible, because that's the point that your agent really needs to be in communication with you about what is going on so that they can resolve those problems that come up.
And for buyers, let's take and pause and say, do not change your jobs. I repeat, do not change your jobs. Your lender will actually pull a final report on you, whether it's credit or in employment verification. Things could change, and that could be a huge killer in the deal. Also, do not make any new additional debts. Do not charge anything. Do not move money around. Everything needs to say as is when you made your application. You're also going to have time to read the closing disclosure, and this is when you would actually compare it to what you were given on your pre-approval from your lender. These are times to make sure everything is square. And then we're going to say, confirm transfer of wire funds verbally with the title company. There's nothing worse that could happen than for you to be phished and transferred to a party that is not involved in the transaction. Your money is gone forever. So that's a huge one.
And there are very specific instructions on how to we will tell you about.
Over and over, we will tell you about that. Also, lastly, a valid government issued ID. And the valid is the key point, because if your driver's license is expired, I really hope you have a passport, because if you don't, you are not going to be able to close.
And speaking of closing tables, I am going to be on a podcast with Teresa Flood and Tamara Gady. Tamara is with Lawyer's Title, and we are going to be talking about this exact thing and probably going into a little bit more detail.
So if you're thinking about buying or selling, let us know, and we'll walk you through the closing processes that are particular to you, kind of to help you out. It's a really great way to feel like we can pull out a lot of that stress during this transaction.
And so now that we found the house at the 2010 Mayflower Drive at updikepugh.com, there are links for everything down there. It is they're all mentioned in the show notes this week, and we want to thank you for joining us this week.
And just remember, we want to be your realtors for life.